my God, I could cry just thinking about it now. And this is ridiculous. Hi guys, you may have seen this video. It is a tag. I didn't know it was a tag. I just watched Anna Cicconi's last week and thought it was a really good idea. And since then, I've discovered it's actually sweeping YouTube. So you've probably seen some of these before, but the what people really think about me or the assumptions video is what we're going to do today. So I asked on Instagram for people's assumptions about me, and we're going to be responding to them. Now, the problem that I had was, as I was scrolling through, I mean, number one, I didn't understand kind of how this worked in the first place. So I kind of, on a whim, said on Instagram, send me your assumptions and I'll make this video. And I instantly had the urge to start responding to them, which I didn't. But I was like, oh my God, now I want to make the video right now. And I haven't had time until now, 2 days later. And so I've been kind of mulling over my answers in certain subjects or in certain topics, and I've had so many that were a similar topic. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to format this, but we're just going to go for it and see where it takes us. Before we start, I do want to let you know that something very exciting happened the other day. We finally all agreed on a new and, in my opinion, far superior book cover for my new book that comes out on the 28th of February. In the UK, 14th in the US if you're watching from America. And it's now been added to Amazon. I'm really, really excited to see it because I just think it just is more me. And I just love it so much more. And I did design it myself. People ask me that, and I swear, I used PicMonkey. Nothing that I've done for this book has been like super high tech. I'm really, really excited about it now. I've been kind of pulling it back a little bit just in case something went wrong or, you know, things in the past have not worked out. And so I've not wanted to get my hopes up, but I'm allowing myself to be like all in excited now. So if you haven't seen it already, the link is below. And if you are thinking of buying it, please pre-order, because apparently that's a big deal to Amazon and they will promote it to other people that maybe have never seen me on YouTube. And I would really appreciate that support. Okay, let's get into it. I think I'm kind of going backwards, and I had two, so we're going to be all over the place. Rosie and Rue, she said, I don't think this, but I've seen people say you're in loads of debt because of your spending. This is so funny because I've had a real mix of comments to do with money. In fact, I wrote them down, hang on. You're a spender, not a saver, 100% true. You're in a lot of debt, not true. That you make a lot of money, which is just so funny because some people see it as, oh, she earns a lot of money, and some people see it as she's got thousands of credit cards. You're terrible with money and impulse by a lot, 100% true. You're middle class. I think that's more of a, I mean, it's kind of an outdated thing now anyway, but in my mind, middle class is kind of like something that you're born into and it's the way that you're raised. I don't know. I think that's probably open to interpretation. You're comfortable financially. You have a lot of expendable income. You have quite an easy life money-wise and have a lot of disposable income. So that within itself, I want to kind of address as a bulk because I should be more comfortable than I am. But because of the previous statements that were true, I am not. If I get any kind of money, well, just money in general, you know, I've not really grown up. I'm nearly 33. And the same kid that went out on payday and spent all of her money and then like didn't have any money for the rest of the month, that's still me. And so I don't save. I'm horrible with money. But that is one of my, I want to say resolutions. It's not. If you watched my Law of Attraction video, I've written it down as something that I want to achieve this year, is kind of getting out of that habit and actually starting to save some money because it's not sensible. You've got to be a grown-up now. But I'm not kind of like going out and spending a load of money on handbags on credit cards. That's not really the situation. You can eat whatever you want and never have to worry about your weight. I would say that is true to a degree. I never really diet. I never, you know, here and there, I'll try and pull back if I think that I'm kind of, you know, overeating, or if I think that maybe I'm kind of going down a path that I don't need to go down, like eating a packet of biscuits a day, that kind of thing. But in general, no, I would say that I am blessed in that respect. Although I do think that slowly as I get older, that's going to change. You're worried about getting older, Kate says. I'm not worried about getting older. The funny thing is, because I had Ella when I was so young, I have never felt young. It's a strange kind of situation, because I've always been in a life stage that is like removed from my age. And so someone was talking to me yesterday and they said that they were like in their mid-40s, and I thought, God, when I'm in my mid-40s, I'll have like a 25-year-old. And so I've never really felt like I fit in with my peers. So although I don't feel old, I am kind of waiting to grow into my life, I suppose. So I'm not really worried about getting older. But as you get older, you are more confident, scared perhaps, but more willing to take risks. She's put in brackets book. I think that is true in the fact that you just think, well, why not? I think that's more of the situation as you get older. You're like, ugh, you know, you've had a little bit more life experience. You know what the pitfalls are of things, and you just think, oh, I'm going to do this thing because I want to do it, and if I don't do it, maybe I won't get to do it again. That you regret moving in with your parents. I've actually addressed this because obviously it's a question that people want to ask me all the time and possibly just kind of like hold their tongue. And that's something about this particular video, this idea, that I think is really cool, because you are opening the floor for people to be a little bit more brazen, and you're inviting people to be to say things that they would normally consider to be maybe a little bit rude, and it's totally fine because you've asked them to. And so it kind of, I quite like that about this. It's also a bit scary, but I quite like this about this. So moving with my parents. Today, as I was sitting down to film this video, I thought this is the perfect example to give, because I've always said, you know, on some days, yes, 100% I do, and on other days, not at all. It's just life. Some days I hate my job. Some days I love my job. It's just kind of how things work in life. You don't always, every single day, think that choice that I made was a great one, you know? But I would say the thing that irritates me the most about living with more people is I used to have this time during the day on my days off, of which I now only have 2 because I work a little bit extra at my office job. But I used to have this time and it was completely quiet and it was just me in the house to film videos. And when I did move in with my parents, or when we all moved into this house, that changed because my dad's home all the time. And so there's just noise, and like there'll be a washing machine, or he'll be like unloading the dishwasher, or there'll be the dogs, and 2 dogs like to rile each other up in a way that one dog, it's a completely different situation. So it's a much noisier house during the day, which makes this difficult. And I would say that's probably my biggest bugbear of the whole situation, because I really enjoy that my relationship with my parents is different now because we're living together as adults, and so our dynamic is totally different. I like that the kids have got a stronger and closer relationship with my parents that they wouldn't have had if we hadn't done this. There's so many benefits that it's not a forever situation. We're planning on doing it for a set amount of time, which, as I've said before, I'm not going to talk about finances because it's not only my situation. And so although I can be as open as I want to be with my stuff, you know, you have to be respectful. And so because we know it's only a finite amount of time anyway, I'm really trying to take all of the positives and make the most of the situation, because one day I'll really miss being able to just walk in and talk to my mum, or tell her something, or show her something that's funny, because she won't be there. I think your laugh is contagious. I don't think I do have a contagious laugh. You'd feel intruded upon if you met a subscriber in person. Not at all. Funnily enough, every single time I've seen anyone that to my memory, I've been with my kids. That doesn't bother me. But what kind of did put me off a little while ago, this is years probably ago now, is it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. We were at a concert and someone came up to me and said hello, and they recognised Ella before they recognised me. And that was around the time that I thought I really want to pull back on this, because like Milo goes to a childminder, sometimes they might be with my parents. As they get older, they're on their own. And I really didn't love the idea of people knowing my children in public without me, you know, recognising. It really was a bit icky for me. Otherwise, I love meeting people from YouTube. It's a bizarre situation that I'll never get used to, but people coming up and saying hello, fantastic. I love speaking to you guys. You want to live abroad? I don't really want to live abroad. We've kind of we haven't toyed with the idea of living abroad, because Ella, I split her, because I share her with her dad. It's not really ever something that we can really seriously consider. We've often thought, well, once she turns 18, blah, blah, blah. But even then, I think I would struggle with either making her choose, or if she did choose to come with us, then I'm kind of depriving her dad of that relationship. I don't know. I don't think that we ever would. for that reason. That maybe you and I could be friends one day. Well, I have met multiple friends through YouTube, like through people watching my videos, and then we've met and then we've become friends, so possibly. I assume you like Marmite. I do like Marmite. I assume you never fart in public. Not unless I can help it. You'd be great fun to go out for drinks with. Well, I think so, but that's an insular opinion of myself. I think I'm great fun, but the problem I have is after the fact. I've got a group of very close friends with whom I have the best fun, and I never second guess myself. But with new people or people that I'm not sure are completely my people, later on I wonder if I've said the wrong thing or been a bit too full on. But you know, in the right group of people who get me, yes, I think I'm fun. You're an introvert in real life. I'm not at all. I wish I was, because I think I'd be more productive. In fact, that kind of goes back to what we were just saying about the going out situation, because I am an extrovert. I want to say I'm so extrovert, but because I am an extrovert, I will go into a situation. This is a perfect example, my Christmas party at work. I went and sat down with everyone, and I was halfway through my first pint of lager, which is my drug of choice. I also like a Sauvignon Blanc and a gin and tonic, or maybe a Cosmopolitan. I recently tried a martini, don't do that. So I was halfway through a pint of lager, and I just kept saying to people, I feel wasted. I felt absolutely so drunk after half a pint of lager. And that evening I just felt like almost kind of out of control, to the point where I was starting to think, I mean, I was in a safe place, and I don't for a second in my sober mind think that anything untoward was going on. But I remember thinking, has someone put something in my drink? What's going on? And there are situations like that where I'm surrounded by so many people that I get like an extra level of high from being with people and talking with people, and I get so hyper. Like, I've been out and not been drinking, like when I've been pregnant or when I've been driving. And in fact, I remember when I was pregnant one time, someone made a comment about me drinking to someone else that we were with, and I wasn't drinking. I was drinking mocktails, and I was driving everybody home. But I was dancing, and I was so like Larry would probably be the best word to describe it, because that is how I am in a big group of people. I get like, it's like insane. It's too much, I think, for some people, and it makes some situations difficult. And then, of course, when I'm sitting at home by myself, like when I do this, even this, it's so funny. When I film a video, as soon as I finished filming this video, I'll sit down and I'll be so much more energized than if I just sat and blogged or taken pictures or been quiet all day and not spoken to anyone. Even though you're not here with me, this still kind of counts as me drawing in energy. It's so strange, but I have written about it in the past, and I think it's in the book. As I'm going through these, I'm like, I've written about this in my book. I've written about lots of this in my book, but I'm sure I wrote about being a problematic extrovert and how everyone seems to think that being extrovert is like the goal, and it would be so much easier because introverts blah blah blah. But it's actually sometimes not great. You're a great person to go shopping with, I would say yes. Okay, we're getting on to the next phase of the thing where I wrote more things down. You're not very maternal, even though you have 2 children. So I had everything from, in fact, well, let's just read these. You're not a very strict parent. Yes and no, depends on the situation. You're a super chilled parent. Again, I'm pretty laid back, and so I'm not. You're a badass mum who has her shit together. I never feel like I have my shit together when it comes to the kids. Being a mum doesn't come naturally to you, which is just so funny, and I will address that at the end. That your parents will babysit as and when needed. My mum actually works full time, and my dad goes out every single day to see his mum. And he like golfs and stuff. They've got stuff on. We don't actually rely on them to babysit very often. We, this year, had decided that we needed to, again, with the whole living with your parents thing, we needed to make the most of that a little bit more. So like when the kids are in bed, the other day we went to Taco Bell. We couldn't do that if we lived by ourselves, or like going to the cinema or whatever. Sometimes we like let that drop off a little bit. And one of the real big benefits of us doing this for us was that there would be like ability to have date night without really interrupting the kids at all, because they're in bed, they're all sorted. There is no kind of babysitting to be had because they're just you know, settled. You just need someone in the house for them. But we haven't done that all that much recently, and so we're going to try again soon. That being a mum isn't your sole identity, 100%, which leads me to the not overly maternal, which again we'll circle back to. Ella has a problem with you doing YouTube, not that she's ever voiced. If you've seen her face when I'm vlogging in the background, because I don't vlog her unless she's said it's cool, but sometimes she's like behind me or something when I'm vlogging, that's just her face. I don't know what to tell you. She's 13. You want another child? I don't think I do. And again, you're not very maternal, even though you have 2 children, is where we kind of started off with. So you want another child. I would love to go through the thing of like, we want to have a baby and we're trying to have a baby and we're pregnant and then I'm pregnant, we've got the tiny baby and it's really exciting. I don't think I want 3 children, is the thing. I love the idea, and maybe if we like won the lottery or something and everything was easier because you've got like tons and tons of money. But honestly, I don't think even then, I don't see myself with more children. I like the idea of having another baby, but that baby will grow up into a 3rd child. And I don't think either of us actually want 3 children. So we've kind of, never say never. Things change, feelings change. So we're going to go back around to maternal. Being a mum doesn't come naturally. All I ever wanted in my life, I had no aspirations, no ambition whatsoever. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. All I knew I wanted was children, which might blow your mind because I'm not a mumsy mum. I'm not a like, everybody look at my amazing children kind of mum. But that's a different facet of my personality. I'm not really a PDA person. So I'm also not someone who is posting like selfies with Lee constantly, telling you how amazing he is and how in love with him I am. I can see how it would come across as like I'm not into this whole mothering thing. And I'm very sarcastic. My mum is very sarcastic and she once told me like there'll be people who get you and then there'll be people who take everything you say very seriously and really think you're a completely different person to the person that you actually are. That is my, that's my personality, that's my humor. And so people kind of either get you or they don't get you. And I think that the people who think I'm non-maternal, number one, don't get that side of me anyway. And number two, think it's bizarre that I want an identity outside of being a mum. It's very important to me, possibly because I had Ella when I was so young. But I'm not fulfilled purely by being a mum. I'm not. I need other things in my life. But to me, in saying or assuming that I'm not maternal, again, this is so open to interpretation, but in assuming that I'm not maternal, it's almost like saying I don't want to be married or I'm not into like my relationship with my husband because I need friends as well. Do you know? I need more than motherhood. You're a wise head on young shoulders. Again, maybe that kind of comes back to the thing of me always feeling like I was out of the loop age-wise, like I was always older than my peers. By no means hate, but I assume you use sarcasm because you lack confidence. I wouldn't say that's true. Again, my mum was just really sarcastic. All growing up, that's just kind of our humour. I am a mum like my mum. You know, most people grow up and they're like, I'm going to do it differently. I basically did it exactly the same. You exist on a diet of super noodles and Red Bull. I'm off Red Bull now. I'm very into Monster. I like the Monster Ultra, which is the white can. But my favourite is the Doctor one. It's like yellow with black around it. And it will kill me one day. You still feel very young. Well, we kind of covered that. I don't feel old. I don't think anybody kind of ever feels as old as they are, do they? I think you kind of come in to a certain age and then you're just that age. I don't think I'm going to be like 85 and feel like, oh, I'm so mature now. I don't think I'm going to grow up from this. I can try and work on myself and try and be a better person, but I don't think that I'm going to be like, oh, now I'm going to behave like an 85-year-old. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think you are what you see on your videos, real and normal, and I love that. Well, that's a really nice comment. And yeah, I think that it's been a blessing and a curse. I can't be anyone else. It would be exhausting and not fun if I had to pretend to be something different upon a character or a persona to make YouTube videos. I love making YouTube videos, and maybe I'm not for everyone, and maybe if I pretended to be something different or become a character, I'd have done so much better on YouTube in the last 9 years that I've been doing it almost. But that's not me, and I'd rather just be myself. I'd rather fail as myself than succeed as someone else. We're back to the, I assume you're wealthy that you make a lot of money. I don't feel like we kind of covered it all. It's something, there were so many comments like that. For sure, I am comfortable, like money-wise. I will go way down to the wire and have no money, but I know that I'm gonna get paid. Because I'm not careful with money, I couldn't survive on YouTube alone. YouTube does not pay well enough. I will get occasional sponsored campaigns, and then that money will be like, okay, well, we'll put this towards whatever holiday we're gonna go on next. I kind of stopped spending money on handbags, not altogether, here and there. Last year I bought something secondhand that you may have seen, but I stopped because I realized, number one, they weren't giving me the buzz that I thought they would. I mean, this is like a whole separate thing, but they weren't like, didn't get the same thing from them. They weren't as exciting as I thought that they should be. And I didn't feel like the money was well spent. And number two, I wanted to spend that money on holidays. I wanted to spend that money on like doing other things. So our priority then was like, if I got in a big amount of money, then it would be, okay, well, we'll book a holiday. And that's been kind of the way of things. But you never know when that's going to come in. And sometimes you'll do something and then they just won't pay you. And that happens. And like I say, YouTube, like the money I'll make from this video is probably going to be like £7. It's not, you don't make a lot of money making YouTube videos unless someone pays you to make something sponsored. It's not a sustainable thing for your average person. Obviously, you know, there's Zoellas of the world. And so I've got a regular job, and I'm just lucky that I fell into that job because I was a temp. I fell into that job, and it's like the best paying employer in our area. And so I was working 2 days a week and getting the same amount of money that I'd been earning for a full-time job somewhere else. It's a really well-paid employer. And I've upped my hours there so that I can kind of like just take the pressure off all the other stuff. And this can be a bit more fun instead of feeling like it has to be a job. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. And just, you know, because again, within the assumptions, no one said, but I know that people will assume, I won't make a lot of money from the book. It's pittance compared to the amount of time it will have taken me. It will be less than minimum wage by the end. Unless, you know, 1 million people buy this book, but they won't. I'll probably earn the same, if not less, from the book that I made from making that video about mushrooms in December. And the time that it took me, it's a completely different thing. It's like a tangible achievement, but it's not going to be some kind of financial windfall. So I think people do just have a skewed perception. Number one, because of what I show that I spend my money on. But number two, because they kind of think that once you're doing a certain thing that you earn a lot of money. And maybe I will one day, and I'm sure people do, but I don't. That you'll do anything for the people you care about. I mean, within reason, you know. You and Ella's dad still have a good friendship. I wouldn't say we're friends. We're not like hanging out, but we're friendly. It's absolutely fine. It's one of the things that I'm most thankful for in my life is the fact that we have a good relationship. So like we went to parents' evening last week and we were joking around and whatever else and talking about her teachers and stuff. And it's so easy. And I just thought afterwards, like, it could have gone a completely different way. And I know for so many people it does. And that I'm really thankful for. I assume that you're super organised. I am not at all. I like to plan things and I like to organise things, but I'm not an organised person, even a little bit. You'd be an awesome friend. You'd have to ask my friends. I think I can be, but I also think that my closest friends are considerably more thoughtful than I am. And often they'll do things and I'm like, you've done it again, like you're just making me feel bad. Went to see Hamilton. I was in London with Lee. At the end, I was so desperate to take a picture of the cast that I put my head down. Well, you know, I reached down to my handbag quickly to pull out my camera and I smacked my head as hard as I possibly could have on the chair in front because the chairs were so close together. Anyway, I couldn't believe, I was like dazed. Couldn't believe I'd done it. I told Emma about it on the way back to the hotel. The next morning she messaged me, how's your head? I'm like, Emma, if you told me that story, I would have forgotten about it the next morning. My friends are better friends to me than I am to them. Every time you go to the US, you hunt down a Taco Bell. I have never had a Taco Bell in the US. Oh, no, that's not true. I had one in Vegas once. But I don't do that because we've got Taco Bell in England now. But you're super down to earth. Again, I think that comment suggests that I live a life that would make that difficult. And I don't. That you would totally go out for food in PJs if you had such a bad craving. Yep. I assume that you're the most fun at a party, singing, dancing, playing games. Again, loop back. I think it would depend on who I'm with. I think I'm great fun, but someone else might be entirely irritated by me. You like things done your way and only your way. I definitely have that within me and I fight it. I remember when at work we would have to do like, we have to work as a team. It's the worst. We used to run like training programs and stuff. And when I had to be in the training program and they'd be like, here's a sheet of paper. I'm like, I'm already over this. This is the worst. I hate when I have to work together with other people on one collaborative thing. I know this about myself, that I will be such a control freak. And so I can kind of, either I have to do it all or I will be a spectator. That's not a great quality. But it's true. You always doubt yourself and always seem to second guess yourself. Definitely in certain aspects, for sure. I think you're more critical of yourself than you are of others. Again, I don't know. I think as it goes, I've got relatively high self-esteem. I think I'm all right. I don't feel bad about myself. I don't like lay awake at night thinking I'm a terrible person. I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm probably in certain circumstances, personality-wise. There's an Amazon guy and he gave me my parcel and he said, I keep dropping this. I'm surprised it's still in one piece. And I thought, that's a really weird thing to say to someone. And then I realised he meant the phone thing that you have to sign. So yeah, the only thing that maybe I would be critical or whatever of is those after social situations where I'm like, oh, did I say the wrong thing or whatever. I've met bloggers who, in theory, we got on like a house on fire and then I've never heard from them again. You want to dye your hair a funky colour all the time. I assume that you have your life together and are now enjoying your best life. I'd like to think so. I don't want to think my best, although I've always thought 35 is going to be my year. That you're a good person, but you can be quite cranky or highly strung. Which is so funny because I get the comments that like, you're super chilled out, you're super laid back. And then someone who thinks I'm really highly strung. I don't think so. I'm sure, you'd have to ask my husband. These are probably the comments that he's probably signed up for accounts and written them in. I don't think it's true. I definitely can be cranky, but so can everyone. I don't think it's like an overwhelming personality trait of mine. When you have an idea, you just do it. Yes. You are one of the real bloggers that are left. I get you. And I appreciate that. You're really proud of your natural, undamaged locks. P.S. Your hair is incredible. I remember the shortcut days. Yes, 100%. And, circling back to the funky hair colour, I would love to go to the hairdressers and be like, just do something completely different. I'm so bored with this. But I am really proud of my hair because, not even because it was so damaged, because I never in a million years thought I would not be able to dye my hair. I've been dyeing my hair since I was 12. How has this happened? I think a big part of it, once I grew it out to a certain whatever and liked the colour, was I started to find a couple of greys and I thought, oh, this has got a shelf life, because once I get a lot of grey, I will colour it. And so I'm kind of now, at some point I may put something in the ends. I do feel like if you look at my hair, doesn't it look like I've dyed it? I saw a picture the other day and I said, if I didn't know, I would say I have. It feels like there's like a line where it goes from, I don't know in this light, but it seems like it goes from quite an ash dark colour and then it goes to a really warm light colour, as if I've put something in it, but I haven't. It's quite red. That you're super busy. I'm probably not as busy as you think I am. That you would be really easy to get along with and you have lots of friends. I don't have lots of friends. I wouldn't say that I've ever met someone who seems to hate me, whether or not they walked away from that situation and we're like, she's the worst. I don't know. You don't believe you're as good at YouTube as you actually are. Always stayed real. Again, Claire, maybe that was a mistake. You have a very laid-back personality and, oh, you're a very laid-back person and don't take yourself too seriously. I think that is true. But I think it's like a necessity thing because I find stressful situations very, very difficult to deal with. I kind of have to be laid back and just believe that it will be okay. That you're super good at self-motivating and balancing your time. To a degree, I am. I mean, I have to be, I suppose, because I do stuff that I don't have to do. So, like, when I get home, I'll work on something, whereas someone else might be doing something else. I don't know. I must be, but I'm not great at balancing my time. You know your own mind and have your shit together. Yes, I think so. You're a very strong person emotionally. Again, this is something that is like a needs must thing. So if I'm with someone who's crying, I hate this, number one. If I'm with someone who's crying, I will be the person, I felt incredibly uncomfortable, and I will be the person like making jokes and like, you know, it has to be someone I know so that I know what will fly. But that would be my coping mechanism in that situation because I am not a very strong emotionally. I will cry at the drop of a hat. I was listening to Michelle Obama's book the other day and I had to keep taking breaks. I was listening to it at work and I was like, this is just too sad. She kept telling stories about people dying. And there was a part where she talked about Sandy Hook, which was the school that was shot up oh my God, I could cry just thinking about it now. And this is ridiculous. Right, so anyway, she was talking about Sandy Hook and she said that she came out of this preschool or whatever and she was told about it and they said to her that Barack had asked for her and it was the only time in 8 years that he called for her in the middle of a work day and he was like this broken man and then he was crying at the press conference. Blah, blah, blah. So she was talking about it and I had to take a break because I just thought, I can't. I will cry at things that are not personally affecting me. So I kind of, when I'm in a certain situation, I probably have to put up a wall. Haha. That's another presidential reference. I probably have to put up a wall. Because I wouldn't be able to deal with it if I kind of let someone else's pain in. You're not just a regular mom, you're a cool mom. I had multiple people say this to me. That is so funny because my mom used to say, years before Mean Girls, my mom used to say she was a cool mom. So when people said that, I had showed my mom. And again, I could just walk into the kitchen and show her. You were a party girl when you were younger. Well, I was pregnant when I was 18, so not so much. I mean, absolutely zero offense by this, but as your skin looks amazing, Botox. No! Look at this! I wouldn't say no to Botox. I wouldn't say no to kind of injectables and fillers and stuff of any kind. I wouldn't say yes to them necessarily, but I'm definitely not against people getting like work done. I don't know if I would have like full-on plastic surgery that involved like proper like surgery. I always think, especially with your face, but with anything, if you are so unhappy with something, then just do it. Who cares? Whereas if you're just like, I wish my lips were a little bit bigger, what if it goes wrong? Will you wish you had what you had before? You know, like if you're so unhappy with your nose or so unhappy with your like wrinkles on your head or whatever, that you can't feel worse about it, then go for it. But the thing that always stops me is the idea that I might regret it, and when it's your face and you don't know how, you know, Leslie Ash, Meg Ryan, these are the people that make me think that might not be a good idea. That was a really long one. I don't know how I'm going to edit that down. We'll see how long it ends up being. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any other assumptions, I'm like, do we want to invite this? If you've got anything that you were kind of wondering about, leave a comment. I may do a follow-up. I may do it on Instagram. Or I may just respond in the comments. Because it's really interesting to me that people had such conflicting ideas. And it could just be that they've watched different videos. It could be that their own stuff has like influenced the way that they see me behaving, and that's kind of it. I don't know. But it's really, really interesting to me that people do feel very, very differently about like, oh, she's this or oh, she's that. And they could be polar opposite ideas. So yeah, that was kind of a curious thing. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. No one was mean. No one was like malicious or intentionally cruel. I completely invited people to be as offensive as they felt like it might be. And everyone was really kind. So thank you. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out my book. I'll see you guys later.
Every time I'm going out, the same things keep happening.